Howdy, you two. We're watching Big Tugg while Music Festival sucks. We got a fun day today. I went ahead and did something different. I put up a bunch of tabs. Let's see how many of these we can get through today. I'm very excited. They're all going to be fun. I don't think any of them are dramatic or about politics or world events right now. So it should be a lot of Pokemon stuff, some general video game things, things off the watch later list. You know, we got some Gabby Bell, some Chad, some Act Man. It's gonna be a fun time. Let's hop right into Big Tugg though. I feel like I've seen one of his videos maybe. I don't remember. I remember the name, and I added some of the videos from his YouTube on here. So we're gonna see if we like him or not, whether he can stay on the subscribe list.
Tugg.com for exclusive perks and videos. Check
go to Tugg.com, guys.
Please put me back up normal. My head's getting big. Hey, quick question. Do you enjoy music?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy relaxing outside?
No.
I suggest to you the music festival, where you can go and get the worst experience of both.
That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like the worst possible way to enjoy music. Can you even hear music at a festival? I feel like it'd be too loud from people screaming and singing and chanting. And then if you're not near the speaker, then you can't really hear it all that well. But if you're too close to the speaker, you can't hear anything for the rest of your life.
At the same time. Music festivals are a perfect way to pack all your favorite bands into one sardine can of capitalism.
Okay, full disclosure. I have been to one music festival concert thing. It was called like Fallout. I don't remember when it was. It was a very long time ago. I only went because Everclear was there, and I freaking love Everclear. I went with my friend. We met up with some of our other friends who happened to be there. They were goths. So I don't know why they were out in the sun. Not going to say their names. Let's call them Matt and Jeff after the Hardy Boys, because they were brothers. And Matt, of course, being the edgier one, the gothier of the two older ones, we're going to say that. Jeff, the younger one, he went on to be a lot more successful than his brother, weirdly enough. Matt decided he wanted to go into a mosh pit, but he also wanted to light a cigarette, and then he ended up not only smoking in the mosh pit, but also purposefully birding people. That should have been a green light to destruction of the rest of his life, as you can tell. He was not stable, and he got less stable as he went on. Jeff became more stable as he went on, and for whatever reason, his mom was afraid of clowns, and in, I believe, 2019, when I was seeing him regularly, because I was working somewhere where he came in to buy cigarettes, he asked if I knew anywhere he could hire a clown for his mom's birthday, because she hates clowns, and he thought it would be funny. So I guess he wasn't super stable either. And it just so happens that where I was working on a daily basis, another guy comes in and buys cigarettes who also happened to be a clown. Now, he was a very small fellow who was missing some teeth. He did not feel like he was a stable person and made a lot of bad decisions either. So I said, you know what? I actually have the perfect guy for you. He was a nice dude. He was a very nice dude, and he would frequently just pull out balloons and make balloon animals for kids whenever they were in the store I was working in. He was a great guy. So I hooked them up, and Jeff came in like a week later, and he said, thanks for the recommendation. That clown was actually hilarious, and my mom wasn't that scared because he was such a cool guy. And I'm like, happy to help, man. It was wonderful. But anyway, with the other friend I was with, let's name him Bubba Ray, after one of the Dudley boys, because we used to wrestle together. He actually, you know what, now that I think about it, Jeff from this story also taught me how to do a figure four. No, his brother Matt taught me how to do the figure four. He actually taught me how to reverse the figure four. So that was a lot of fun. This is a weird story. Anyway, so Bubba Ray ends up stealing one of the steel chairs. Go figure. We wrestled together in the backyard. So he stole one of the steel chairs, and he would use that in the wrestling from then on. He also stole some guitar picks from the Everclear table. I think I still have one of the picks in my lockbox, my box of treasures, if you will. I have one of the guitarists. Actually, might have been the lead singers. I don't remember which one was using that particular pick, but I have one of the picks that the Everclear band was using at that concert locked away in my room. That's the only concert I've ever been to. There was theft, debauchery, goths. It had everything.
There's nothing like a $20 burger, an extremely unattended porta potty, and just probably the worst sunburn you're ever gonna have while listening to a
I
jam
can only imagine. As I am a snowman as an avatar because I am pale, thick, and I melt in the sun immediately.
band suck for 4 hours straight. The 21st century has seen
Okay, I don't really believe in judging a book by its cover, but that band looks like it sucks. No offense. No offense to you random people, but you look like you're a god-awful band, and I would not enjoy seeing you.
4 hours straight. The 21st century has seen an explosion of music festivals. In the US alone, there's over 800 a year. You can't just see your band play anymore unless it's a little rinky-dink piece of punk band. No, you gotta go to a music festival. You gotta sit through a sea of musicians you would never give a about to see your one person that you're excited for. And do you enjoy sitting just a little bit? Maybe take a load off? Well, let me introduce to you the concept of standing all day in the sun. Just standing up.
No.
Waiting. Isn't that the best?
Things I hate. Being outside. Sun. Standing up for long periods for no reason.
God forbid you're any height below 6 foot, because a 6-foot person's gonna come up and ruin this for you, and you're gonna watch your favorite band play through their cell phone that they're holding over their head. And real quick, why are you filming a band playing music? No one wants to see that. That's like going to the aquarium and taking pictures of the fish.
I assume they're filming it for themselves and then also social media because they don't realize how terrible that video is going to be.
Just go home and Google fish. You'll see a better picture of them. Anyway,
It's a Google fish.
As this billion-dollar industry is today, the roots of these corporate-sponsored stages stretch back thousands of years. So in order to find out how the music festival became the only game in town, we gotta swim through the history books real quick and go back to the very beginning, as I'm wont to do. Grab your sunscreen and water bottles and make sure to bury that bottle of Smirnoff a couple of weeks before the festival, because today we're talking about music festivals. I should have said that better.
But first, let's do an ad.
Hey gang, this ad's gonna be super different from the other ones I've done before. I'm not gonna try and sell you something, no promo codes. I just wanna talk about Beyond Meat for a hot sec. You know, Beyond Meat, you've seen them. They're literally paying me just to talk about Beyond Meat and why it's dope. So I'm gonna do that. You guys should probably listen. Oh, but Tugg, plant-based meats are full of chemicals. First of all, one, shut up. Two, that's not even true, actually. You might think they have to pump it full of chemicals to make it taste that good and that's similar to meat products, but it's just the fact that food science has gotten far along enough to mimic the texture of meat using
I'm gonna skip this because let's face it, this is an old video. He ain't getting nothing off of this anymore.
Example of a music festival can be traced back to the Pythian Games in ancient Greece. This 8th century BCE festival was part jam, part religious ceremony, honoring Apollo, the god of music, poetry, and art. Quick side note,
his
recently I've been
PP's
saying
out.
BCE
Ignore that, guys.
BC in my videos, and Christians have been the worst kind of Christians have been getting very mad at me for that, for saying before Common Era instead of before Christ.
Sounds like they need to calm down. They don't own time.
I mean, who gives a Sometimes you guys comment things, and it does get under my skin, only when you're being spectacularly stupid. I don't care. You can comment that all you want. I don't give a BCE. I'm gonna do it just to spite you now. Moving on. The religious aspect of the Pythian Games was taken pretty seriously, as each festival began with a blood sacrifice of 3 animals. Perhaps a goat, a sheep, and a pig. No order. Could be 3 pigs, could be 2 pigs. There's a lot of options with it.
What? You had to put the pigs as cops, didn't you?
You're doing animal sacrifices. And also, I don't know if you know this, but they still do that for Coachella. You know, like, they don't bring it up as much anymore, but in order for Coachella to exist, they do have to kill 3 baby goats. So
100% believe that. I believe anyone who's willing to run a music festival is also willing to sacrifice baby goats to make it go well, or just like make a little money.
next time you show up in your big sun hat, just know that a goat had to die, 3 goats for your hat. But the Pythian Games were full of music that honored Apollo by singing hymns and playing instruments like the guitar. That was a lyre-like instrument, which the both of them were the predecessor to the guitar. They were playing guitars. They were being douchebags and playing guitars. The catch is that this was the Pythian Games.
Oh, those are the worst people at parties.
So the whole thing was technically
allegedly. I've never been to a party.
Basically, to put it in modern day terms, it's like if Lollapalooza was a gigantic
battle
of the bands, and also every single song was about Jesus.
Hold on. Directly contra people are sitting. There are chairs right here.
Was about Jesus. That might be fun. I know just talking about Christians, but that might be fun. And what amazing prize did the best performers win at the Pythian Games? Well, it was a laurel wreath. Yeah, but that's it. That's all you got.
Cool. You got nature.
So to each their own. Okay, so let's skip ahead now a little bit to the 18th century, which is quite the big skip, but we have to make it. At this point, social gatherings featuring music had been primarily religious in nature, and as European cities.
Oh, that guy's ugly. That guy's also ugly. What is happening here? What is happening in this painting? That guy, it's like he knows that guy is ugly, and he's just like, ugh, please get through this song. Are you cool, dude? Are you gonna make it? It looks like he's like midway turning through a zombie. Actually, he looks like he's also already, he looks like a zombie too. What is going on in this painting?
Cities grew, the people became godless.
Is this history's first zombie attack?
More than 100 people in the same room, someone starts talking about the old big guy in the sky. It's not good. Humans should be hermits. That
butterfly in the sky.
What a mistake. She can't hear me right now. London nearly doubled in size during this time, from 500,000 to close to 1 million.
Why is his head so tiny? Why are the guy's heads so tiny, but her head is kind of proportionate? What? Also, his legs are awful. What? Huh?
Residents. And as opposed to amateur musicians singing ditties to deities, professional composers and musicians were now playing for large crowds of rabid city slickers.
What's with the
4,300
tan?
instruments were
Hello,
advertised in
sir.
London from 1672 to 1749, which led German composer and music critic Johann Madison to write, "Und the Italians exalt music, the French
sure it's
enliven
Johann,
it,
not
the
like
Germans
Johann?
strive after it, the English pay for it well." I don't know if that was German. I don't know. I have no clue what that
It
was.
wasn't.
Actually.
It
Road
was
to
not.
Prosperity
It
set
was
the stage
not.
for the first all-secular music festival ever, a 1784 presentation of the works of George Frederick Handel in the London
Frederick!
Westminster Abbey. It's like they always say, "Go woke."
John Cena.
Go to commercial.
Dr. Umstick. Another
His
day
name's
with
Dr.
Prince
Umstick.
Go Baroque. That's a Jimmy Pitts
That's-
joke. I don't get it, but he told me it was smart. In
That's not even a
19th and early 20th
creative
century,
name,
saw growth in
Dr.
aristocrat-sponsored
Umstick.
outdoor entertainment, generally of the choral variety, though some were lavish and featured orchestras and fireworks. And if all this sounds
That dude looks like he'd be fun to hang out with. That guy looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. That lady, she's gonna try and pork that dude. That dude is gonna steal her purse. I don't know what this guy over here is doing.
works. And if all this sounds very pinkies up and upper crust, that's because it was. These guys were one percenters like a mother. These festivals were primarily for the highly educated upper
There you go,
class.
guys. Just be
During a time
one
when the wealthy
percenters, and you
was
can have a cool mustache, all the money, and go to the music festivals.
to unprecedented levels. By 1910, 90% of all the wealth in Europe was owned by the top 10%. Can you believe that? How did they even live like that? That's such an unbelievable amount of money to be held by such a small amount of people. They should have done something. They should have done some crimes. Or not, I don't know. So while these music festivals were
No, 2 crimes. It's fine. No big deal there.
popular with the elite, most disgusting poors couldn't afford to attend. This resulted in the lower classes focusing on more musical traditions,
Poor
which
people.
were more rooted in folk music and work songs, which are so sick. Shout out folk music. Chris, put up a picture of your favorite folk artist. I know you're a big folk.
I'm actually not huge into folk, but recently I've been listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell. Not quite sure if that fits the bill, but go listen to I mean, could have done a little research, but this is probably a lot funnier.
Folkhead. In America, where London's choral and orchestral festivals were imitated, this class division led to a growth in folk festivals. Many of them even mirrored the ancient Pythian games with their
Honestly, that guy looks like he would be in one of those paintings. Kind of off, right?
Devil Went Down to Georgia-esque fiddle competitions. And some of these festivals grew into long-running events, like the National
That's a sick outfit.
Folk Festival and the Mountain Dance and Folk Festival. Personally, I find it hilarious that there was the Folk Festival and then the Mountain Dance and Folk Festival. Like, the people who started the Folk
That is too much. That's way too much, man. You're trying to jam too much into that festival. Just stick with 1 or 2 genres. You don't need 3. That's insanity.
Festival must have been so pissed. They're like, you're just doing what we're doing. You're just doing a little mountain dance. What does that even mean? You're stealing our flow. But regardless, during this class divide in art and culture, World War II
trying
hit,
too hard.
causing
People see
many
right through
leisurely
that.
activities for the sake of the war effort. And one of the things they paused were these gaudy aristocratic events. And also, the cartoons got racist for a little bit.
Okay, yeah, if you don't remember that from Dumbo, don't go watch Dumbo. I believe they took Dumbo down for this reason, but then they put Dumbo back up because they were like, oh my god, this is costing us a lot of money.
Oh, what we got here now? Oh no, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
By the time the war was over, people's musical tastes have changed because we just beat the shit out of Hitler's ass. You know, we don't have time for that hoity-toity, fruity European shit that they were doing. And this is when the festivals started to let their little freak flags fly. The stuffy musical festivals of the upper class would come back after World War II, but they would lose their exclusivity and relevance. In their place came festivals dedicated to the West's new obsession with things like folk music and jazz music.
So folk sticks around. Folk does not go anywhere, got it.
That's what it's all about, baby. The Newport Jazz Festival debuted in 1954, and those lucky enough to attend saw absolute legends like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Lester Young, and Dizzy Gillespie. I said it before and I'll say it again, Dizzy Gillespie is the best artist name I've ever heard in my life. It goes so goddamn hard. Not even that
I like the Dizzy. It sounds like a not real name. Gillespie? I don't know. It just sounds like a regular name. That's not fun.
big of a fan of his music, but Dizzy Gillespie, give me a cigarette. I want to start smoking them after hearing that name. The Newport Festival was a hit, hosting crowds of over 13,000 in its first year, and inspiring the promoters to start the Newport Folk Festival in 1959. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Newport, but it's in this tiny little state in America called Rhode Island, and it's crazy how important Rhode Island is to overall music.
Kent. Who named it Kent? Greenwich. Okay. Yeah, this is a terrible name.
Music festival culture because it's Rhode Island. Have you ever been to Rhode Island? You wouldn't expect that. But yeah, Newport is where Miles Davis rejuvenated his career in 1955, changing the direction of jazz forever. It's also where Timothy Chalamet, oh my god, I can't remember the actual guy's name. Chris, put up a picture. Bob Dylan. No, Chris, edit all of that out.
Bob Dylan's a name you should have remembered. Timothy Chalamet is a name you should have not remembered. You got it backwards, buddy.
Don't let people know how stupid I am. It's where Bob Dylan famously went electric, marrying lyricism with rock and roll, demonstrating how the tenets of folk music could translate to modern sounds. If you're a nerd for classical music, like I kinda am and Jimmy really is, do yourself a favor. If you see someone who recorded an album at Newport, check it out. Ray Charles, Miles Davis, the Dave Bruckbeck Quartet, and Muddy Waters all recorded legendary records from the Newport stage. And aside from major performances, Newport gave us the bones of the modern music festival. By the time the 60s were in the full swing, seeing traditional nightclub bands play on big stages was no longer a novelty. People didn't really give a shit about that. And the counterculture took this idea, along with a bunch of drugs that I can't mention.
Dare to keep kids off drugs, guys. Scruff, McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652.
All get demonetized and ran with it down the street and made a bunch of cool new festivals that we're about to talk about right now. The 60s were a pivotal time for redefining our perception of music festivals. As the children of World War II veterans became teenagers, they were a massive portion of the population because
Dude, they look like they're just having like the best day, just hanging out in the trunk of a car. I think it's the trunk of a car. Okay, yeah. I feel like it's the trunk of the car. No way they just took all the engine parts out just to take this picture.
the baby boom, which I talked about in a bunch of videos, you guys don't pay attention. And their taste in rock and roll and soul music led
Jimmy!
many promoters to see a new direction for festivals. For example, 1967 Monterey Pop Festival. Have you heard of it? It was the first major American rock festival and helped kick off what historians refer to as the Summer of Love. I didn't know the Summer of Love was a real thing. I just thought it was something that old heads talk about because they pretended to be a hippie for a week and then they went to their jobs and had a flashback for the rest.
Honestly, that feels like something that they would do. They would just make things up and like over exaggerate something that they did like the bare minimum of, and just not actually have ever taken part of it.
Of their lives, and I can't say it.
Guy, there was this one weekend I banged one girl, Summer of Love.
Of course, bleep both of those times I said it. But the Monterey Pop Festival took 3 days and was at the same site as the Monterey Jazz Festival and was an attempt by the promoters to use a music festival to elevate rock's popularity the way it did with folks and jazz. This festival had iconic performances. Have you heard of Otis Redding? No, Jimi Hendrix, perhaps. Oh, you still don't know? Are you that stupid? Janis Joplin, The Who. I can keep going. And
J. Jobs. Sad what happened to her though.
fortunately, the influential documentary
And then how
filmmaker
they twisted her death. That's not okay.
D.A. Penbaker was there filming, adding to the mythos of hippie subculture with footage that captured flower power in all its glory. This is where Jimi Hendrix lit his guitar on fire on stage. It's all about it. That's what it's all about, baby. Why would he do that? I'm sure that guitar costed money. Monterey Pop took the blueprint of
Yeah, but also did the Star Spangled Banner. Killed it.
and updated it for the psychedelic era, proving that the youth was willing to pay to see the new wave of rock bands and laying out just how the sound of loud amplifiers and heavily mic'd outdoor stages would work logistically. Actually, audio engineer Abe Jacobs' sound system was the basis for PA systems at major festivals for years to come, earning him the nickname
good for him.
the Godfather of Sound, which, for someone I've never heard of in my entire life, that's a pretty cool nickname to go to the grave with, if I'm being honest. Monterey Pop was a cultural
I'd put that on my
success,
grave,
introducing
for
Americans
sure.
to the
For
burgeoning
sure.
counterculture in California. Even classic 60s rock group Eric Burdon and the Animals wrote the song
What?
Monterey about their groovy festival experience. But even more
Never
than
heard
just
of
the
them.
social cachet, Monterey was a money. It made a lot
Say
of money.
Monterey?
Setting a precedent that rock and roll could make you cold hard cash. This set the stage for many
Uh-oh.
imitators,
Cool. Summer of Love turned into capitalism real fast, didn't it?
which also turned out to be one of the most famous festivals that ever happened. Have you guys ever heard of Woodstock? No, I'm not talking about that weird little bird that follows Snoopy around. I'm talking about the place where your grandmother got banged in the mud. The vision for the first
Ew,
Woodstock was
yeah.
similar to Monterey's, with performances by the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, and Jimi Hendrix. Just like Monterey, there would be a film crew capturing the festival for a documentary. Seemingly, the only difference was they were trading in the beautiful skies of the West Coast for the upstate New York vibes of trees. I don't know. what's
That's
going on
where
up
the
there.
Star
There's just one
Spangled
big
Banner
problem.
happened, okay.
Monterey had been at the forefront of the hippie subculture, but by the
Thought we
summer
were
of
already talking
1969,
about that. I
the
guess we
counterculture had
spaced out on
become
that
a
one.
full-blown movement. Organizers for Woodstock
Make love, not
assumed the
money.
festival-
That's what it was for, though. It was for the money. You made love making them money. You can have both.
would sell tickets to about 50,000 fans, right? But they were pleasantly surprised when 186,000 people pre-ordered tickets. I didn't even know pre-orders were a thing back then. So
Yeah. I didn't know pre-orders existed then. Holy crap.
they adjusted their expectations and predicted about 200,000 concert goers would attend.
$6. Oh, it's $6 a day. Oh my god, that had to be a lot of money back then. Unless, wait, $8 a day. Wait, hold on. Good for one of them, no refunds. What is the difference between the $6 ticket and the $8 ticket? 3-day ticket, 3-day ticket. Oh, is the pre-order the $6 and this is the basic one? Yeah, because this is like, no, this is 66,000. This is 13,000. Wait, what? What is the price difference? Oh, it's called Woodstock Music and Art Fair. I didn't even know there were art there. No one ever talked about the art. Hold on. What is the difference between the $6 and the $8?
But here's the thing about hippies. They suck and they don't plan. They procrastinate until the very last second. Have you ever seen a hacky sack little circle going on? You think they texted in the group chat, hey, hacky sack at 5? No, those things just start happening. So by the time the actual festival was set to start, upwards of 450,000 people showed up to the event. It caused traffic jams nearly 8 miles long, to the point where people just abandoned their cars and started walking, which is insane. How much was a car worth back then? What's happening to the economy where you can just abandon a car and assume it's going to be fine?
The economy was a lot better. These hippies grew up to ruin the economy to where we couldn't afford cars.
The festival was flooded with so many attendees that the promoters became overwhelmed. They gave up checking for tickets or charging at the gate and
Hold on. Look at this guy down here. He's either having a terrible time out in the heat or he's having a really good time below this picture.
for tickets or charging at the gate, and Woodstock essentially became a free festival, which, I don't know about you, I guess hippies were chill about this kind of thing, but if I paid for a ticket and someone came in and they didn't pay for a ticket, it's like when you're sitting in first class on a plane and some snot-nosed kid comes up and sits while the flight attendants aren't looking. Like, sure, get your bag, but I'm gonna complain and get my ticket free, because I'm not gonna, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Why am I paying if I could just sneak on? Anyway, there were many famous performances at Woodstock, as I'm sure you know.
That was somehow both okay with it and also complaining about it.
From Joe Cocker doing the most insane and best Beatles cover ever to Jimi Hendrix slashing and burning his way through an avant-garde version of the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
The legacy of Woodstock was its perception as a hippie proof of concept. Nearly 500,000 people came together to experiment with sex and drugs, and for the most part, it was peaceful and non-violent. Granted, there were 742
Would never happen now. Never.
overdoses, which is not a great number. However, only 28 of those required medical attention. These guys weren't doing hard stuff, and if they were, they weren't really. Like, you know, the drug I can't mention, and they were doing drugs where you're really just like, you're gonna have a bad time, man, drink some water. It's not like you're gonna die. But from a business standpoint, Woodstock was a nightmare. It lost nearly $1.3 million, and that's in 1960.
Oh, that's 1960 money. That's 1960. Oh.
Nine money. And while the Harlem Cultural Festival and the Isle of
How much is that now? That's got to be a ton, right?
White Festival would help close out the decade, the financial disaster of Woodstock put a somewhat sour taste in the mouth of promoters. In fall
Good.
of Woodstock, there was a steep decline in rock
Do it for the love of music and I guess also art that was there for some reason. Where was the art? Do it for the love. Don't do it for the money.
music festivals, because not only were people afraid of losing money, but citizens were turned off by the riffraff, making it difficult to obtain the proper permits. No one's gonna sell out a festival when people are like bragging about how many drugs they're gonna do and how much sex they're gonna have in mud. That's a hard sell.
It sounds like a pretty good sell now, honestly. Like, hey, no rules. Let's go. You can do the marijuana and then each other. Wink. I can't wink. I have blinking tide. Otherwise, my eyes get really weird.
For, you know, just anyone owning space.
Pretend
So
I
let's fast forward
blinked.
to the 90s, when things kind of sucked a little bit more, but they were still kind of cool. In the 90s, festivals came back with a new twist. Instead of destination events, they'd come to your backyard.
Yeah, the new twist was 1999. We just did Woodstock all over again. They even called it Woodstock. It did not go well.
In 1991, Jane's Addiction lead singer Perry Farrell launched Lollapalooza. He took inspiration from England's Reading Festival along with Ramshackle Vibe of Grateful Dead tours and added a 90s alternative.
Oh, let's see who's on that bill. Okay, no idea who that is. Faith No More. I know them. Okay, Nick Cave and the Bad. No. Gary Clinton. No. Mudhoney. Jane's Addiction. I know. In the Diary of Jane. An Emotional Fish. I don't know what that is, but it sounds funny. Mega City 4. Inspirational Carpets. The Wedding Present. Buzzcocks. Billy Bragg. Ride. The Young Gods. Wire. Psychic TV. Ned's okay, well, I would completely skip Saturday. Friday's a banger just for Jane's Addiction. The Pixies. Oh, Pixies are good. The Pixies are good. The Fall, Jesus Jones, Tackhead, Loop, Living Color, Stereo MCs, The Telescope, The Hymnon. I don't know most of these. I know like 3 of these bands. 2 of them are on Friday, and then I'd go to the Pixies on Sunday. I'd have a nice breakfast, go see the Pixies, go have a nice lunch, and go home. Mean Fiddler stage. There's a stage for just fiddlers? Okay, hold on. My entire Saturday would be taken up from fiddling. I don't know any of these people. Wait, I should actually read them. Oyster Band, Band of Holy Joy, Ruby Blue, the Katy. I don't know any of these names, but honestly, I would love to hear some like different people's fiddling styles. I'm not against it.
Shackle Vibe of Grateful Dead tours and added a 90s alternative flourish. The first Lollapalooza was actually Jane's Addiction's farewell tour, and they both.
Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's bringing a little bit of sadness. Although, did they get back together? I don't think they did Diary of Jane before 1991. There's no possible way, right?
Their eclectic mix of hip hop, industrial, and punk music. And most importantly, this package of early 90s
Sweezy and the Banshees, Living Color, Nine Inch Nails, Ice-T, Butthole Surfers. I'm not gonna lie to you, I would go for Butthole Surfers. I know, 9 Inch Nails, but Butthole Surfers. Not the name. I actually like some of their music.
alternative culture traveled from coast to coast. Lollapalooza's initial run had 26 dates in.
Also, if you don't know who Butthole Surfers is off the top of your head, Tub Thumping. No. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Wait, that's not Butthole Surfers. No, Butthole Surfers was, God, I can't remember the name of the song. Marky got with Sharon, Sharon got Cherie, and she was Sharon's out like in the topic of disease. Like, Marky had a facial scar, Bobby was a racist, they were all in love with dying, they were doing it in Texas. Someone played piano like a kid out in the rain, and then he lost his leg in Dallas. He was dancing with a train. They were all in love with dying. They were drinking from a fountain that was pouring like an avalanche coming down the mountain. I don't mind the sun sometimes, even 'cause it shows. I can taste you on my lips and smell you in my clothes. Cinnamon and sugary and softly spoken lies. You never know just how you look through other people's eyes. That's the song. I was hoping it would remind me of the name of the song. I'm just completely blanking out on it, though. It's Streamer Brain. I could name it any other time.
21 different cities. It was such a success that the next year it grew to 36 dates in 30 cities. It set the framework for traveling music festivals in the 90s. Soon, it seemed like every genre had its own tour. In 1995,
Warped Tour. Okay,
began,
Warped,
and
I
you're
hear,
not an
was
American
a
little
good
shop
tour.
if you haven't been to Warped Tour. The original Warped Tour featured punk, ska.
Okay, let's see. Following reverse, set it off. Less than Jake. Less than it. We the King. Real big fish. Newfound glory. Okay, I'd go for Newfound Glory. Good Charlotte. Heck yeah. Yellow Card. Heck yeah. Sum 41. Heck yeah. Dude, they were. This day right here. This left foot. What is left foot? I guess this is different stages. Okay, let's see how it compares to Tonight Live 303. Falling in reverse. Oh, I missed that one. If they're playing at the same time as Set It Off, I'm hopping over to the right foot for 303. Real Friends, The Story So Far, State Champs, 4 Year Strong, Issues, The Main, Mayday Parade, Sleeping with Sirens. Okay, I'm going to go over here for 303, and then the rest of the day I'm spending over here. Wait, I can go with Sleeping with Sirens after Sum 41, though. Hold on. Wait, that's 10 minutes. It's hour, 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, I'm going to stick with Sum 41 and miss Sleeping with Sirens. Sorry, Sirens. These are all the different. You can't even watch everyone at the same time. Dude, they're all playing at the same time. That's insane. Masked Intruder, Young Guns, The Interpreters, Knuckle Puck. Nope. Poseidon Stage sucks. Assuming We Survive. Water Parks Against the Teenage Bottle Rocket. Chunky. Too Close to Touch Skies. Nope. Cyclops sucks. Motionless in White. Every time. Okay, so far left foot. Insanely good. Oh, overpowered, if you will. Okay. Whitechapel, The Word Alive. Ice 9 Kills. That was Atreyu. Wage War. Nope. Monster Energy North. You suck. Monster Energy. Do better. From Ashes to New. Cruel Hand. Vanna. Ocean to Left. Nope. Monster Energy. Both of your stages. Absolute garbage compared to. What is this? Journeys. I don't know what that says. It's weird font. Left foot. Your left foot, just stay here all day. Maybe hop over 303 during Set It Off, but absolutely stay here the rest of the day. Wait. 11:20. Why are these times all weird? Okay, last one. Full Sail. Guys, we're putting all of our money on left foot. Let's see what Full Sail can come in clutch at the last minute. I like Pacific. Can't. Nope. Broadside. Old. Nope. Mother, Father. Nope. Just stay left foot all day. Possibly 303 at some point. Technically, this is 12:20. So during Falling in Reverse, like collapsing in time. Why did they get an hour and they only get 40 minutes? What is happening here? Okay, well, apparently we can go to the right foot for 303 and we can watch them for 30 minutes. No, not even. I don't even care about Less Than. Okay, Less Than Jake is 150. So we stay at 303, watch a little bit of Real Friends, figure out whoever the crap that is, and then we have like 30 minutes to get over for Less Than Jake. Rest of the day we stay at left foot, stay hydrated, meet a pretty girl, maybe get a smoochies, and then for the rest of the day, listen to some good music, with a nice lady. Maybe our friends are hanging around. Maybe we brought us some trail mix. It's a good day at the Left Foot stage for Journey. I'm gonna say Journeys, but it's spelled like two O's, and there's too many things coming off of this. I can't read this font.
Hardcore and emo bands, essentially becoming a roaming hot topic. But there was always a few anomalies in the Warped Tour lineup. Like the Black Eyed Peas played in 1999, and Katy Perry played in 2008, which is like around the time I went. Like, it's just not good. And we have Ozfest.
Yeah, it kind of went down.
Originally a 2-day
Black Eyed Peas, phenomenal. Katy Perry, ugh.
music festival before hitting the road as a traveling festival the next year. This metal-focused music festival got its start when Lollapalooza said, "We don't want
Yeah,
us."
Katy Perry sucks. She kissed the girl and she liked it. I wonder if the other girl liked it. She never asked her if she liked it, did she? No, it's just about her.
Ozzy Osbourne to play at Lollapalooza. He was
That
like,
Ozzy Osbourne picture.
and he said, he meant to say he was going to go do his own thing with blackjack and hookers. Singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan founded
Futurama reference, solid.
the Lilith Fair in 1997 after her frustration with the treatment of female musicians in the music industry. In its first year on the road, the all-female Lilith
To be fair, everyone gets treated bad in the music industry. Women do get the shorter end of that garbage stick.
Fair became the top-grossing traveling festival and raised over $10 million for charity. And while many of the 90s music festivals would peter off and not make its way to the next millennium, they paved the
As
way
well
for
they
the
shouldn't.
onslaught of music festivals that would come to us in the 21st century. Today, music festivals are big business. By some estimates, the global music festival market is worth $3 billion. With so much money at stake, the vibe of music festivals have shifted drastically since the idealism of the 1960s. It's hard to fool yourself into thinking that music festivals are still about love and artistry when Alex G is playing under a banner of a big...
Okay, he's
Lincoln
not
Bud
got
Light
to
light.
Woodstock
Financial
too.
institutions are major sponsors at many festivals. 39% of the banking industry's sponsorship portfolio is now dedicated to music events and festivals. Still, it's hard to look at modern...
Really?
incarnations
I
of
didn't realize it was
festivals
that
like
much.
Coachella and South by Southwest and pretend like it's what it used to be. Speaking of which, let's talk about Coachella. I feel like I've been ignoring that besides making fun of it way earlier. Ironically, the roots of Coachella started in the early 90s when Pearl Jam was boycotting Ticketmaster. You'd think
Pearl Jam!
people would still be doing that, but no. No, they take the money and run. After helping Pearl Jam book alternative venues,
Oh, take the money and run.
promoter Paul Toilet, That's a
Oh, he looks like a douche. He looks like he's trying too hard to be cool. Because he wasn't cool when he was younger.
Festival in Southern California. The inaugural Coachella took place in 1999 with performances by Beck, Tool, and Rage Against the Machine. It was a cool...
Oh, Beck, Tool, and Rage Against the Machine. Hold on, what is this card? Got Moby. I don't know Gus. I know Moby, though. Moby seems a little out of place here, though. Pavement, Innocent Criminals, Ben Harper, Tool, Chemistry Brothers, Morrissey, Cornelius Underworld, Art of Noise, Breakbeat Era. I kind of want to start a band and call it Breakfast something.
Against the Machine. It was a cool idea with really cool bands, but if you have no sponsorships, it's not going to work. They lost $750,000. Eventually, the entertainment corporation AEG saw the potential of Coachella and purchased Toilet Production Company. It was one of the many music
business
festivals that
reviving
was,
Coachella.
acclaimed by AEG. I think they have over 26 right now, including Electric Forest, Just Like Heaven, Cruel World, Firefly Fest, and the legendary New Orleans Jazz Festival. It's all over. There's no such thing as like a small music festival going around. With AEG at the helm, Coachella became a profit-making...
I feel like a small music festival would actually do pretty good still. I mean, you have to book some at least medium-sized talents. Because I don't feel like people are going to come for like just local people. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of iffy what you can manage to do with it.
Machine, one overrun with corporate sponsorships from major brands like Coke, Google, American Express, and YouTube. And while Coachella still boasts an eclectic, albeit more pop-focused...
I don't know any of these people. Except for Harry Styles. But I wouldn't go to anything for Harry Styles. I don't care about Harry Styles. Oh, someone called Japanese breakfast. They took my breakfast idea. Yeah, I don't know any of these people except for Harry Styles.
lineup, its outsized role in our culture says more about the status than the art. Tickets for Coachella for 3 days range from $600 to a full grand, creating a barrier to entry much like the European that they were doing that, you know, the poors hated. We are the poors who start hating. Regardless, Coachella's laughing all the way to the bank.
Poors aren't allowed to like things or enjoy things. Rich people can't stand that. Rich people can't stand to see poor people happy.
Ranking at over $115 million a year. And then on the other end of the spectrum, well, I won't say the other end of the spectrum, it's different. South by Southwest. It's one of the few music festivals that rivals Coachella in brand recognition and scope.
Is it a festival? I thought that was like a convention or airline. Isn't it an airline?
South by, as it's known to the cool kids, we call it South by. It's too long to say South by Southwest. Started in 1987, predating the wave of traveling festivals spurred by Lollapalooza in the 90s. It was founded by staff members of the Austin Chronicle as a showcase for local
Also, wasn't it a
artists, featuring
movie?
nearly 200 bands in its first
Now I'm
year.
very
But in
confused.
1994, they did something that not many other music festivals did, where they added like an interactive element to the festival itself. It was a film and interactive element that ran concurrently with the music, and today those elements have taken over to the point where the biggest draw of South by is the tech and entertainment side. From Twitter getting a big initial push when it first dropped.
Okay, yeah, it is a conference now. Okay, that makes more sense why I would be confused, because I wasn't confused. If we take away anything from this video, it's that I'm right.
In 2007 at South by, to its current reputation as a festival where notable TV shows and movies premiere.
Hold on. I know food. I'd go to a convention for food. I love food.
The festival now feels less like a showcase of up-and-coming bands and more like a mix between Comic-Con and a technology expo.
That's what I'm talking about. I hear people talking about going to South by Southwest as a convention, not as a music festival.
And look, I'm not upset about South by promoting the next season of The Boys. Like, I think it's cool that they're doing all this.
Oh yeah, I think I watched the first season of The Boys and it was okay. I didn't love it. It wasn't awful, but I didn't love it. It was really depressing, and I don't like being depressed when I'm watching entertainment. I don't find being depressed entertaining.
However, when we're talking less about the bands and more about the brands, it's pretty clear that this has absolutely nothing to do with music anymore. And that's not just me being grumpy. The idea of consumers valuing experiences over goods is
You could be grumpy and right. That's a very important part of being grumpy. You can get away with being grumpy if you're also right.
a concept called the experimental economy. Companies are leveraging the idea of a music festival, which in itself is an experience, and they're shoehorning their newest tech gadgets or film into the festivities. This creates a new way for customers to resonate deeply with the next superhero movie, and I thought we were done with those after the Avengers started to suck, but holy I guess we're still doing them. But
Yeah, it should have ended after Endgame, man. That's where Marvel already had everything planned out up to Endgame, and after Endgame is when Disney took over with their own plan. All they had to do was follow that plan and then end at Endgame, but they couldn't just. We need more money, and you're not good at it, Disney.
a little bit, but if we want to talk about killing the vibe, let's talk about some dog music festivals, because that's just a fun part of this script. It's hard to ignore. Not every music festival is an incredible moneymaker. A lot of them are like dangerous and bad. For example, let's talk about Altamont. Have you ever heard of Altamont? It was a show. In 1969,
No.
the Rolling Stones hosted a free concert at Altamont Speedway. And the
Oh,
host
that's cool. It was free. They're good for them. I'd do that if I were a band. If I were super successful, I would definitely put on free shows.
being a West Coast version of Woodstock. And if you don't know anything about the West Coast, you know it sucks. Big Wang. Shout out East Coast. East Coast, Beast Coast, which is a lot
East Coast!
lamer than West Coast, Best Coast. We had to come up with a rhyme ourselves, but it's better. The festival featured big names like Santana, Jefferson Airplane, and the Stones.
Oh, hold on. Flying Burrito Bros. Who's the Flying? I would go for Santana. Also Grateful Dead, but mainly Santana I'd be there for. Jefferson Airplane a little bit. Crosby, Still and Nash. But yeah. Flying Burrito Bros? Who the crap is Flying Burrito Bros? Has anybody heard of Flying Burrito Bros? I would love to hear some music by them.
Themselves. Of course, anything that the Stones were involved with throughout most of their history means that it was going to go pretty quickly. It was plagued with problems from the start, creating a backdrop of chaos before the music even.
I don't know if I'd hire these guys. I'm just saying. They look like trouble. It explains the trouble. She looks like she's about to go full Karen in her future.
Started with venue changes, poor facilities, sound issues, and to help keep the crowd safe, the Rolling Stones had a brilliant idea. They reached out to their boys, the Grateful Dead, who had in ties to the Hells Angels, a local biker group.
That explains the bikers. Okay, yeah.
And they said, why don't they just do the security here? You know, we'll save a couple bucks. That's a good idea. Get the Hells Angels to do security. This is like hiring the Hamburglar to run security at McDonald's. But it was hard to argue with the Hells Angels asking price.
Hey, he would do a lot of taste testing to make sure no one got poisoned. Solid job, Hamburglar.
Which was $500 worth of beer. They didn't want much, they just wanted to get hammered. The Hells Angels were also aggressive, and many fights broke out in the crowd. By the time the Rolling Stones took the stage, the drama hit a boiling point, and a man approached the stage while pulling out a gun, which, not good. But then he was stabbed to death by the Hells Angels, also not good.
I'm sorry, what? That was a turn. Okay, well, honestly, as security, if you stab someone to death, that will keep everyone else in line and keep everyone secure. Yeah, make an example of them.
It was the polar opposite of good vibes that were going on at Woodstock the previous year, in a moment that many historians look back on as a symbolic end to the idealism of the 60s. But that didn't stop people from trying to recreate.
You can't blame stupidity for that, man. It was capitalism. Capitalism's the one trying to point the finger at stupid.
Woodstock. Let's talk about Woodstock 99.
Yes, yes. This one I remember. The absolute tragedy. Oh, wait, hold on. Aerosmith, banger. Bush, banger. Chemical Brothers, George Clinton and bangers. Collective Soul, yeah. Counting Crows, okay, yeah. You got Creed, for the time, yeah. They might have fallen off, got a little, but you know, for the time, they were popping off. Sheryl Crow, great. DMX, banger. Everclear, whole reason I went to the only concert I ever went to. Everlast, banger. Freaking love Everlast. Makes amazing music. Fatboy Slim, weapon of choice, baby. If you haven't seen that music video, Christopher Walken just being weird, love it. Banger. Foo Fighters, freaking bangers, bro. Especially because lead singer was the drummer for Nirvana. Oh my god, dude's got a legacy. Godsmack, banger. Freaking, hold on. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I want to listen to a lot of this music and add it to my 90s playlist. Hold on. I'm sorry. This is getting me all riled up on music. Okay. Where we at? Guster, no idea. Mickey Hart Plant, I have no idea who that is. Ice Cube, fantastic. Jamiroquai, banger. Sea Dog VA, for some reason, really obsessed with virtual insanity. Jewel, fantastic. Kid Rock, absolutely fantastic. Korn and Limp Bizkit, you put those together, are you trying to cause the world to explode from awesome? Remember that one song they did together? Weird. Lit, My Own Worst Enemy is an absolute fantastic song. I never get tired of listening to that song. I'm going to listen to that as soon as I'm done streaming. I'm not going to lie. And hopefully I remember. If I forget, I am so sorry. Live and Lowe's Love, I don't know who that is. Dave Matthews Band. Oh, God. Dude, that man can wail on the harmonica. I am not joking. They have so much soul. I love them. Okay, Metallica. Bangers. Mo, no idea who that is. Alanis Morissette. Better in the time as you get older. It's more nostalgic than actually good. Willie Nelson, legend. Mike Ness, no idea. Our Lady Peace. When Worlds Collide, right? Okay, Rage Against the Machine, banger. Sugar Ray, absolute banger. Still hold up to this day. You think they wouldn't? They freaking do. Someday, when my life has passed me by. Also, Fly, Red Hot Chili Peppers, oh God. Oh, peak. Red Hot Chili Peppers were peak. Rusted Root, no. Brian Setzer Orchestra, Yep. I have some Christmas music by them, and I believe they also did, oh God, what was it? I can't remember what it is. I used to listen to it all the time, and I can't remember what it is. Offspring, banger. Tragically, I have no idea who that is. You know, I'm going to look up some of these people. I don't know who they are. If they were at Woodstock with all these people, they might be good. I might discover something I like. Wyclef Jean. Oh, weirdly enough, my favorite Wyclef Jean thing was from the South Park album that they put out, Chef Aid. Bubble Goose. I don't know if you've ever heard it. It was so weird. But dude, this would have been worth the money. It would also have been worth, how much was it? Does it have prices? No. Okay, well, whatever it cost would have been worth the money for all of this, man. It also would have been worth the headache of all the things they set on fire and destroyed, but we'll let him get to that part.
Disaster. In 1999, promoters cooked up the bright idea to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the original festival. This was just
not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
5 years after celebrating the 25th anniversary of the festival, but
that's how numbers work. Time is correct in this.
Disney does this. They celebrate every 5 years anyway. Anniversaries are anniversaries.
Lots of people celebrate things every 5 years. There's nothing wrong with that.
People will show up. It was an obvious massive cash grab. And
God, remember the old school Limp Bizkit and the Red Hot? Ugh, God. All of this.
In contrast to the original Woodstock, the festival was heavily branded. You could actually sign up for a special Woodstock Platinum MasterCard to pay for incredibly
I'm sorry, what? God, this is the most corporate thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Woodstock MasterCards.
priced waters, which, by the way, they ran out of. They ran out of water very quick. Poor planning and incredibly high temperatures led to a shortage of water, and soon dehydration and sour mood spread throughout the festival.
That looks disgusting. What happened? Look at all this trash, man. It's not even a ground.
Festival. The backdrop to this miserable experience was aggressive Y2K rap scream.
I forgot about Y2K.
Rap, like Limp Bizkit and Korn.
Whoa. Okay, Limp Bizkit didn't scream all the time. They had actual things. In Korn, they had a lot of chill, mellow songs. They were depressing themes, but they didn't scream all the time.
And Rage Against the Machine. And
Okay, their name is Rage. You can't. It's the first word in the name of their band. I mean, you can't. You can't be mad at them when it includes screaming.
Rage Against the Machine is pretty cool, but I don't know about Korn and Limp Bizkit. That's not my cup of tea. The mood of the festival continued to deteriorate as people became dehydrated and restless. And
She died.
Limp Bizkit got on stage, and you know their hit song Break Stuff, well, the audience said,
Okay, I see the incitement for the breaking things. Yeah, that entire song does get you hyped up for destruction, okay? There's no getting around that.
"Sure thing, Captain." The crowd immediately obliged by ripping apart plywood walls from makeshift festival structures. And instead of the Chili Peppers taking a second to pause and address the fires and violence that were going on in the crowd, the Chili Peppers decided to play the Jimi Hendrix song Fire as a literal fire.
Why would you do that? Peps, come on, man. Come on. You really... Oh, God, okay. That was a terrible combination. I will give you that. Limp Bizkit break stuff, followed by Red Hot Chili Peppers singing Fire.
Blazed across the festival grounds. This ended up with cars being flipped, buildings being vandalized, and ATM and vendor booths looted. All told, 44 people were arrested, 10,000 more needed medical attention, 8 rapes were reported, and 3 people died. Essentially,
Ooh.
absolutely washing away any lasting thought that Woodstock was a good place to go to. It ended Woodstock. And of course, Fire Festival. How much did I read about the Fire? We don't need to talk about the Fire Festival. Go watch the documentary. Except for the fact
Go watch the Internet Historian video. It's a lot funnier.
that he tried to make Fire Festival 2, scammed a ton of people out of money, and then he didn't do it. Are you dumb? Are you dumb to do that? Why would you say
Yeah,
that?
yeah, he
Jesus
is.
Christ. Do you guys like music festivals? I went to one. I went to Lollapalooza, I guess Warped Tour when I was a kid, but like Lollapalooza when I was of drinking age, and I hated it. People are... I don't like to stand next to people. Little B was cool, but besides that, who gives a... But I don't know. Do you guys
I don't know who Lil B
There's a lot of
was.
people who love festivals. If you like going to festivals, let me know if you do them sober. Let me know if you're okay with not taking a bunch of drugs and going to a music festival, 'cause that seems like the only appeal to me. Also, yeah...
I like not taking drugs and not going to festivals. The only drug I take is Jesus. And Aleve. And NyQuil.
Call me for not mentioning your favorite music festival, because holy... there's
Not
a
at the
billion
same
of them.
time.
New videos every Saturday and every other Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please do
And I guess soda. Soda's technically kind of a drug.
all of those things. It's very important. And extra Tugg. New video every week. They're dirty. This week I'm talking about lube. $4 a month. You get a new video.
Gross. Okay, that was... I do like his video. It was very informative. It was also pretty funny. I'm going to give him a like. I'm going to leave him on the subscribe. He needs my subscription at 1.86 million. I think we're going to make a difference, guys. Leave a comment down below if you've been to a festival. Also, give me a like and a sub. If you apparently YouTube isn't counting people as watching your video unless you actually engage with the video. So that would really help me out. Also, give him a like and sub if you like it. But leave me a comment below if you've been to a festival. What drew you there? Was it socializing? Was it just getting out of the house? Was it affordable? Was it free? Was there a specific band? Like I went to that one festival in my life just to watch Everclear. Totally worth it. Loved it. They played my favorite songs. Like all 3 of my favorite Everclear songs. So that was totally worth it for me. So I'll catch you later, guys. I hope you have a great time. I hope you enjoy the next festival you go to if you do. And if you don't, I hope you enjoy not going to that festival. I don't blame you. I will also not be going to that festival, guaranteed. All right, catch you later. Stay safe, stay hydrated, take care of yourselves, and catch me on twitch.tv/ImPlayTheJolly, shooting for 500 likes before my birthday. Well, follows, I guess, before my birthday. Peace out. Love and nachos. Mwah.